So people often ask, when is the best time of year to buy a house? And it's kind of a loaded question because there are so many variables that take place, and a lot of those variables are unique to each home buyer. But in this video, I'm going to explain the pros and cons of buying in each season, and hopefully that will help you determine when the best time of year for you to start looking for a home. So let's get started. So people often assume that springtime is the best time of year to go house hunting. And in many ways, it's true. But there are some cons to starting your home search or home searching in the springtime. So let's first start off with the pros. In the springtime, you have a lot more inventory that's out. The grass is green, flowers are blooming, you get a good view of the roof, you get a good view of the yard, you can really see what everything looks like when it is in full bloom. And because of that, you can make a very good and informed decision. You get to see everything on display at the height of its beauty with the flowers blooming and all that. The con, though, is that you are not the only one home shopping in the springtime. You and hundreds of other people are all home shopping, and you guys are all looking at the same homes. And because of that, there's a lot more competition in the springtime to find a home. And when there's competition, prices tend to go up. So even though there are a lot more homes on the market in the springtime, there's also a lot more competition in the springtime, and homes generally are listed for and sell for more money. However, because you can see the roof and you can see the yard and you can get a good look at the house, you can make a really good informed decision. All right, moving on to summertime. Now, in the summertime, you still have a good number of people looking for homes, and you still have a lot of homes on the market. You do have people who are trying to find their home before the start of the school year, especially if you were moving out of your current district and you have school-age children. So you have people that are kind of like fighting the clock to get a home purchased or sold, whatever, before September. You do still have a lot of competition though, and the weather is still beautiful. People don't mind moving in the summertime. You are, however, up against vacations like the 4th of July, and my family, we take our family vacation in the summertime, and so do a lot of other Americans. So you are up against vacations and that sort of thing. So the pro is you still have a lot of inventory. The con is you have a lot of competition because you're dealing with people who need to get their home purchased or sold before the end of the school year. And you're also dealing with people who are vacationing, and that could either be a pro or a con, depending on whether you're a buyer or a seller. All right, moving into fall. Now, in the fall, you have all the people that needed to find a home to get their kids started in school. Those people have either purchased their home or now they've decided to put their home search on hold and wait for the following year or whatever. You still have great weather. You still can see the roof. You can still see the yard. Everything still looks pretty, especially in the beginning of fall. You still have competition. However, that competition's sort of gone down a little bit because, like I said, you have a whole category of people who have school-age children who are either where they need to be for the start of the school year, and if they're not, they're putting their home search on hold for this foreseeable future. I love the fall time to buy a home because competition's waned a little bit. It's still nice out. The only con I kind of see is if it's in late fall, people who have pools have closed their pools if you're living in, the northern part of the United States. And, sometimes you have unpredictable weather in the late fall, again, in northern United States. The wintertime. Let's talk about the wintertime. Now, people don't aim to list their home in the winter. Sometimes a home's listed in the winter because they have no choice but to put their home on the market. They have to move for their job. Maybe there was a divorce, a birth, maybe there was a death. Lots of reasons for having to put your home on the market in the wintertime. People don't typically choose to, but it happens sometimes. People don't typically, especially in the northern United States, don't like to move in the winter because it's cold, it's snowy, it's icy. The weather is typically bad, and who wants to go moving, in the dead of winter? But with that, if you are a home buyer, just know you have a lot less competition. And if you are trying to buy a home, don't put your home search on hold for the winter or for the holidays, because you might miss out on a really good deal. And in terms of home prices, sellers need to be a bit more conservative because there are fewer people looking for a home. You don't have a lot of competition. So if you're a home buyer, yes, there are fewer homes on the market, but you have a lot less competition. So keep looking for a home. I love the fall time to list and to buy. I just think it's a great time of year. It's not hot. You have maybe a smidge less competition. And it's exciting to be moved in and all that for the holidays. People love the idea of having a new home for the holidays and all that kind of stuff. Now, in addition to people asking when is the best time of year to buy a home, people ask me all the time, when is the best time in general? How do you know you're ready to buy a home? And that is such a complicated question because, again, there are so many variables at play. But I like to look at, or I like to ask my potential buyers 3 questions. And those questions really help whittle down the answer to yes, I'm ready, no, I'm not ready. And the first question I ask is, where are you in terms of finances? Do you have a steady job or a steady income? I'm not asking you if you have your dream job. I'm not asking you necessarily how much money you make. I'm asking you, do you have a job and a steady stream of income where you can afford to buy a house? Is your job stable? Like, is there a chance that your job is going to transfer you to the other side of the country in the next few months? Something like that. So ask yourself and think about how steady your job is. The next question you want to ask yourself is, are you ready? Do you want to buy a house? Are you ready for the responsibility of a home? Are you ready to have to put money towards buying a new appliance or fixing a leak in the roof or something like that? And if you don't mind the idea of putting your money towards things like that, as opposed to maybe vacationing, going out to dinner a few times a week, something like that. So are you mature enough and are you ready to buy a home? And the third question I ask is, are you ready to put roots down? And when I ask that question, I'm not asking you, are you ready to spend the next 30 years here? I'm asking you, are you ready to be in one place for the next 3 to 7 years? And if that answer is yes, I am going to be living in the Northeast. I want to live in the suburbs of Boston. This is where I plan to be for the next 3 to 5 years. That's great. But if you're like, yeah, I kind of don't like the snow and I'm kind of getting sick of it, and I do see myself moving down south, within the next 3 years or so, then maybe buying is not for you. Because even though homes typically go up in value every year, as a new home buyer, it might take you a couple of years to kind of break even with what you have to shell out as opposed to what you get in building equity and all that kind of stuff. So 1, do you have a steady, stable job? 2, are you mature enough and ready to take on the responsibility of home ownership? And 3, are you ready to put roots down for 3 to 7 years? Those 3 questions ask yourself, and depending on the answers, will hopefully help you determine whether you're ready to buy a home or not. All right, if you have more questions about real estate, the real estate market, anything like that, put a comment down below. I always read the comments and I always answer. And if you're interested in learning more about real estate, life in Massachusetts, life as a real estate agent, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you get notified whenever a new video drops. And of course, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. All right, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you real soon.